Hi there, guys. It's good to be back on YouTube. I haven't done a video for, I think it's nearly been about 6 weeks. So I want to say sorry, first of all, for not posting anything, but I'm going to try and change that over the next few days. I want to try and to get into a weekly vlog at least once a week. And I wanted to talk about this. This is something that's not directed at any individual. Sometimes when I'm posting stuff, especially out on X, people think or tend to think and message me that I'm, directing something at them. It's not about a direct conversation I've had with one person. It's about insights that I've seen, insights that I've experienced. And I really want to sort of go into a bit more detail on that today because I'm seeing a bit of a trend happening. What I've created on X is what I've done throughout my career. When I got hired at McCann back in 2009, I think it was because of work I'd been doing out in the open. It wasn't because I'd been at another agency. It wasn't because of another campaign that I'd done. I got hired because of what I created with TwitJobs. TwitJobs was a job site that ran on Twitter, and I started it in 2008 and sold it in 2011. And it was a live broadcast platform built on Twitter to be able to post out jobs to people. So if you applied to the account and said, I'm looking for a job in marketing in Chicago, it would give you the marketing jobs in Chicago. So I worked really hard on that platform and got some traction and had about 250,000 followers over 5 or 6 different TwitJobs accounts. There was a centralized search engine. We had, I say we, it was just me, but I had advertisers that were from places like Disney, Starbucks, Nickelodeon, Octopus Energy, I think was another one. And there was a few other very big clients that wanted to really experiment and use the platform in innovative ways. It was really like the forward-thinking businesses of the time that were utilizing it and trying to, use ways to be able to get new people. They needed new talent. They needed, a new pool of talent to be able to come through. Me creating that got me the job in McCann. And when I was there, I was brought in to work on one specific social media job. It was the first ever social media campaign that they'd done. And it was an incredible success that outperformed any of their TV advertising with Shreddies. You can Google the campaign, you can see the campaign, it's all still online. And you can see what we did. We used the box as equity and tied it back to a Facebook page where people had to enter codes from the Facebook page from the box into the Facebook page to potentially win something that was unique and special. It was the first time anything had been done like this. It was used as a Facebook and a Meta case study for years afterwards as being one of the most innovative ways to use serial and tie it back to social media. That job became an obvious choice for me because I was deep and entrenched in social media at the time. I'd created TwitJobs. I was recognized. I was known. I was in the startup scene in London. I was a Microsoft partner. I was a Google partner. All of these things that a lot of people sort of take for granted now. But in those days, it was kind of a big deal. And what I'm seeing now, in a few different sort of guises that I'm seeing experiences people who are brand new to building, brand new to building their product and service. And I think there's a lot to be learned from taking action, and doing more than other people will do. I think if you look at my history, my career, the things I talk about, it's all based on experience. I don't talk about any sort of theory. I don't talk about this would be a good idea or some. I don't talk about things unless I've actually like executed it. And I'm executing every single day to be able to have different outcomes, be able to evaluate different insights, to be able to see the things that are happening so I can pass that on to my clients and people that I'm working with. I think it's really important to have these kind of lived experiences. If you see what I'm doing on X right now, you're probably thinking of three or four different things. You will see the BNC community that I've created. There's links for all of this below, so you'll be able to see that. And as you go through that, as you join it, you'll start to recognize either you will think either number one, okay, this is a cool community for me to be a part of. Number two, okay, this is a funnel and I'm not having anything to do with funnels. I don't like funnels. I'm not getting involved in anything like that. I don't want to be sold to. That's not my thing. Or three, this is interesting. And this is the key piece to be curious going through the process. Look at something that's been created by a marketer and see what the process is that's in place to be able to replicate parts of that into your business. This is a system that works. It's only being executed in this way because it works and it's being executed through dozens of experiments, through hundreds of failures, and it's optimized for how it works now. So if you're struggling with how to get customers on X, how to navigate all of the noise about, oh, you've got to reply to everyone, you've got to get more followers before you can sell anything, that's all nonsense. You've got to pull people into a container where they can see and interact with you more often, and you become the authority in that category that you're trying to position yourself to sell products and services in. If you're trying to do that through the timeline and through content or through replies, you are at the mercy of an algorithm that you don't control. By being able to put people in a container, you have a little bit more control over it. And that little bit more control can actually move people from having no understanding of you at all to being able to know, like, and trust you within the space of a few days rather than a few months, if ever at all. Because even if people follow you, they're not necessarily going to see your content. Even if people add you to a list, they're not necessarily going to see your content. The way to be able to um, ensure that people are going to keep seeing you is to make these social containers where you become the authority in that area. And the BNC is a classic example of this. I think it's probably the best in class for a funnel system that works on X to be able to go into products and services. They're available to anyone. When you sign up to the BNC, this is the Business Networking Club, the community that I've set up on X. You will see, and like I said before, you will have depending on who you are and how you've seen it before, those kind of three different routes or three different mindsets that you have about it. Mostly is one and three, I think. And occasionally you get two where people get a little bit angry, send me a message about, oh, I'm not getting involved. This is a funnel. I'm not doing that. You have to understand that you need a funnel too. And if you can replicate parts of that into your business or parts of other things that you've seen, you have to be a really good marketer. I believe you have to remain incredibly, excuse me, incredibly curious about what's going on in your surroundings. How are people selling this stuff? How are people moving you down the line of through a chain of actions? How is it happening? For me, and I've always done this, is look at the people that are taking the most amount of action, people that are highly successful, and don't just look at their content and consume all of that stuff. Think about their funnels, sign up to their emails, sign up for their products, sign up for their freebies, not for what they are, but to see what the email is that you get next and what happens when you click the link, what happens the next day when you get the next email, and start to, if you have to draw that out or map it out on a piece of paper or in your head or put it through an LLM or whatever you need to do, you need to be able to see what these working practices are. Because these working practices are not what people talk about, it's what people are doing to create and manufacture these ecosystems that they pull people through. It's a proven method, it's a proven technique, it's not some sort of magic trick. It works to be able to nurture people, to show if they're to get from initial interest down to an action, down to a making a sale. These things are not going away. These things are proven over time. And I want people, if you're seeing this and you're thinking, well, I haven't really thought of it that way. Think of the people that you look up to the most. Don't engage with their content. Don't look at that first. Don't think that's the piece that's getting you in. The piece that's getting you in is the next steps. You need to understand what those next steps are so that you can recreate something similar to that for your business too. Doesn't have to be the same, doesn't have to be identical, but there are elements that you can pick out and all of that to be able to help move your business forward. I want you to take more action with the right intent. Don't feel that you're being like triggered or you're being manipulated or that you're being tricked or something into these systems and processes. They are psychologically geared up to be able to help people that have got a problem and move them through the chain of events to be able to get to know that person more. And it's just like following someone that you would on Twitter. If you see their content and you like their content, you would follow that person. There's no risk, nothing else is happening. You might see their content again, you might not, who knows? Algorithm is kind of all over the place. I think it's going to get better, but at the moment, that's where things are. So you're taking a very light, intentional, subscribe button. You don't need that. You don't need to understand what that is. You know what the follow button does. You know how that intent works. What you need to be able to see from a marketing perspective is look at best in class people that have created funnels and are moving people down the line. Even if you don't buy anything, buying something is actually a good idea to be able to have some sort of spare cash to be able to buy the odd thing here and here so you can see what's happening next. You can see what's happening next on the funnel. Okay, I buy this $20 product and then I see the $50 product, then I see the $100, 500, 2000. You'll see how that is all planned out. And this works whether you're a SaaS business, whether you're a consultant, whether you're an online agency, whoever you are, these are defined and opportunities that you can apply to your business. You just have to look at it from that creative angle and think about, okay, what's the number one pain that people have with me, that I'm dealing with right now? The number one thing that I can help them with that is like a hand raiser, and it says, okay, if you've got this problem, here's some ease on that pain of that problem and how people can then go through to be able to buy more from you. If you think this is number two, which was what I was talking about before, if you think this is, oh, it's a trick, it's manipulation, it's a scam. I mean, I don't know what kind of world you live in. If you think those things are happening all the time, you must be in this sort of weird bubble. And I think out of the 1,000 people that have joined now and the 30 or 40 that are joining every day into the BNC community, there is like 0.0001% of people that think like that. But I wanted to put this video together because if that is just a small 0.1% people thinking like that, I want to try and change your mind. I want to try and change your perspective, change your viewpoint. Think about the architecture, what these marketing campaigns look like, get to know them, get to understand them, subscribe to them, follow them, go through the process, and just stay curious. Don't feel angry about this stuff because it's often this stuff you need to get more comfortable with so that you can implement it in your own business and start getting the results that they get from it. It's all about your next move. See you next time. Cheers.